Welcome back to Montana this morning. The time is 6:30. I'm just getting all caught up with Senator Jon Tester, who's actually in Billings right now, but of course because of COVID, we can't be in the same building. So good to have you here. We had you in a news story earlier in the day. You were here with the Veterans Affairs Secretary, and you're actually doing a tour of Montana. Billings isn't the only place you're stopping. So, in that news story, we heard that mental health is front and center for our veterans, and one of their concerns being the turnover rate with staff at various VA facilities. So with that information, I guess, what's next for you? What do you do with that?
Well, I would say one of the veterans there yesterday, and there's been multiple ones who have said this, that the turnover rate is a big problem where they don't have the same provider all the time. And I think we've given the VA, starting, 2 administrations ago, the opportunity to hire without a lot of red tape. And I think what Secretary McGonough heard yesterday is we've got to continue, be aggressive, get as many folks as we can, because this mental health issue isn't going away. And Billings has an advantage in one sense, but it's still a challenge. You've got 2 great hospitals here to help supplement the VA clinic if the veterans wants that supplement, as far as being able to go get their help over at the Billings Clinic or St. Vincent. So it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge all over the country. And by the way, it's one as a nation we have to address, because going forward, mental health, I think, over the next 50 years is going to be our primary health challenge in this country. So it's a big deal. He needs to really be focused on getting as many on-the-ground professionals as we can get into Montana.
Yeah, everyone definitely deserves to have that peace of mind of a solid provider that will be consistent and be there and know you and be familiar with what you're going through. So let's jump over to D.C., what's happening in D.C. right now. I wanted to talk about Capitol security. What's been your experience like when you go to D.C.? Are you concerned at all, or what's going on over there?
Well, after the insurrection on January 6th, they put up a lot of fences with barbed wire. It's been well documented. It kind of reminded me of my trip to the Middle East and Baghdad. Since then, that fence has been taken down. And quite frankly, the threat has diminished, but it certainly hasn't gone away, as we saw what happened last Friday. There is still serious security around the Capitol. But the truth is that the Capitol Police were overwhelmed on the 6th, and we, Congress, needs to step up and give them the resources they need. Just as we talked about mental health, they need more police on the ground at the Capitol units so they don't get overwhelmed again. And that's in process of being worked out. But there's always been security there. There's always been more police officers there than anywhere else that I've been in my life. But by the same token, the threat has risen over the last few years, and it just shows what happened last Friday. It hasn't gone away, and it's very concerning. As we lost another police officer, and that's not good at all.
Right, and I wanted to wrap up with talking about House Bill 176. Sounds like it's in the works here in Montana, where it would eliminate Election Day voter registration. Some see it as voter suppression. Do you feel that if this is signed by Governor Greg Gianforte, it could have a big impact on your voter base here in Montana?
It certainly is going to limit some people's ability to vote, and I think that's unfortunate. When I first got in the state legislature in the 99th session, Democrats and Republicans worked together to make it easier for folks to vote. I think a democracy works best when more people vote, and the election fraud thing, I think, is just non-existent. There's not a study out there that will justify doing this kind of stuff, so we need to make it easier for folks to vote. Same-day registration was one of those things that we did 15 years ago to make voting easier, more user-friendly. And I would hope the legislature would continue that and make it so everybody has the opportunity to make sure their voices are heard in the ballot box. It's really one of the places that quite honestly, people have fought and died for this ability, and it's where your voice can be heard the loudest, is at the ballot box. And look, we had a record turnout last cycle. For the Republicans to put forth to do away with same-day registration, we had a record turnout. They won. They won across the state. If I was them, I'd say we need more turnouts like we had in 2020. So let's make it easier. Let's get more folks to the polls. Let's make sure everybody votes. And and that's a true representation of the democracy. So I would be fighting hard to stop that, simply because it doesn't make sense and it makes it harder to vote, and that's not the direction we should be going.
Well, Senator Tester, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us all across the board this morning, a little bit of everything. Thank you so much. It was great catching up with you. You have a great rest of your day and travel safe.
Victoria, thank you. Hopefully we get this COVID behind us and we can meet in person.
Right. We'll get you back here in the studio. All right. See you next time. We'll be right back after this break.